And how do you feel about animals being left without a home by people?
Well, I would never be able to do it. But I think that sometimes people just can't manage to look after an animal. Maybe they've lost their job and can't afford the food, and feel they haven't got any other option. I think it's really sad. Where did you hide?
There was an empty hut nearby, but it was locked. So it looked like the best place was behind some large rocks. There was no shade there, though, so instead we lay down just inside the forest and waited. In fact, we waited there for ages. I was going to suggest leaving when suddenly we heard something running through the bushes.
Have you learned anything surprising about them?
Well, I already knew that gorillas were sociable and lived in big family groups, but I had thought they would always be fighting amongst themselves. After all, they are big and strong and can be quite scary. In fact, most of the time, the opposite is true. They're really quite calm and gentle. I hadn't expected that at all. They're lovely animals, always sharing things with each other.
So tell us,
And what have you found the most interesting part of the work?
There are over 100 dogs here, and we help train them by playing with them, and that's fun. We also have open days where people come to the centre if they're thinking of giving a home to an animal, and it's interesting talking to them. I also learn a lot from watching how sick animals are looked after. In fact, I can't think of anything better than that. How easy was it to get there?
Well, it was summer and temperatures were really high during the daytime, so it made sense to set off really early, at 5 a.m. in fact, when it was still cool. The moon was bright and we were pleased about that because it's easy to go in the wrong direction in the darkness. The track was really challenging in places. It went up and down a lot. We didn't actually find it too exhausting, but it did mean we got to the stream later than we'd expected. Once we were there, we looked for somewhere to hide.
When I meet someone for the first time, I always try to find something the other person and I have in common. And I never answer the other person's questions with yes or no. I always try to say something more to keep the conversation going.
Now listen to the radio programme about gestures and choose the correct answer, A, B or C.
And now, the fourth episode in our series, Getting the Message Across. This week, Adam Cartwright looks at gestures and body language.
Hello there. Last week, if you remember, we were looking at how we use different types of English in different situations. We saw how the language people use in a job interview is very different from the language they use in the pub or at home. But we don't just communicate using spoken language, that is, using words and sentences and different tones of voice. We also use lots of gestures. Gestures are movements we make with our bodies, or parts of them, to communicate some kind of meaning. Have you ever wondered why we shake hands when we meet someone? The reasons we shake hands are historical. In the past, it was important to show that you didn't have a knife or a sword in your hand. Otherwise, you might be dangerous. So shaking hands showed that you came in peace. These days, of course, we don't usually carry knives and swords, but we do still use the handshake, and we usually use it to show friendship or to show that you're pleased to meet someone. What's interesting is that in some countries and cultures, they don't shake hands. In some countries, you're much more likely to see two politicians kissing each other on the cheek than shaking hands. That's because most gestures are culturally specific. That is, they are only used in some cultures and not in all.
I first tried this when I went to India a couple of years ago. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's kind of sweet and sour at the same time. I wasn't sure I liked it at first, but then I got used to it, and I had it almost every day I was there.
At the Theatre Royal, there will be a series of concerts, starting with jazz singer Elaine Del Mar on the 12th of May. George Melly brings his own special kind of jazz and fun to the theatre on the 13th of May. On Thursday the 19th of May, there is the opera Faust. For classical music fans, the Brodsky String Quartet appear on the 23rd of May.
In 1947, after the Second World War, Christian Dior used all the new materials available to produce a fashion which was known as the New Look. As you can see in this picture, he made skirt lengths longer again. Later, in the 60s, flower power and student fashion were popular. In London, Mary Quant introduced short skirts. These were worn with boots that went up to the knee. Look at the white, shiny boots in this picture.
You will hear a boy telling his friend about a science lesson with a new teacher.
We had that new science teacher for our lesson today, Mrs. Jones.
Oh, yes, I've heard she's pretty good. What did you think of her?
Yeah, good. Our usual teacher's off sick this week. He always shows us cool experiments and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Mrs. Jones had a different style. I was impressed by her knowledge. You can ask questions about anything and she explains the answers really clearly. I enjoy my normal lessons more though, I think. I'm really into science anyway, especially when we get to do experiments in the lab.
And what difficulties do street performers come up against?
Good question. In a place like Winchester, not many. We're each given a place and a time to perform. As you've seen, I attract pretty large crowds, and I need plenty of space, so narrow streets are no good. Here, we're given the main shopping street, which is fine. In other places, if you haven't got permission, you'll get moved on by the police, so I always make sure that I've got the right permits. Actually, what's most likely to stop things happening the way you'd like is usually the rain, or even just a bit of drizzle. I mean, where's the fun in standing around getting cold and wet?
What will they eat for dinner?
Do you fancy an omelette and salad for dinner this evening, Grace? I haven't got much time, so I'll just do something quick.
Sounds good, Dad. I'll give you a hand with the salad.
Well, in that case, I can do a few chips to go with it then. I know how you never say no to those.
Great. By the way, we need some bread. We should tell Mum to get some on her way home.
It can wait till tomorrow when I go shopping.
OK.
You will hear two friends talking about their lunch break at school.
Not long till lunch break. I heard there'll be some strange new dish. I'd prefer burger and chips.
You're so boring. I'm going to try it. I hope there'll be time to play that new game, Starball. I downloaded it onto my phone this morning.
Yeah, I want to try it. But don't forget, we've got to get that homework done before the afternoon lesson. If not, we'll be in trouble.
True. OK, let's do that. But then we won't have enough time for games as well.
I'm sure we'll feel better after we've done it. Hope it's not too hard.
Until the beginning of this century, it was only the rich who could afford to follow fashion. There were no factories to make many copies of the same article as there are today. Rich men and women wore trousers, jackets and dresses which were made especially for them. This picture here shows a young lady being measured for a dress that she will have made by hand, exactly how she wants it to be. Ladies' clothes in those days were long and usually tight-fitting and made of heavy material.
Could the owner of a green and red Daesung Santa Lucia, registration number ST4571, please come to the parking lot immediately? Your car is blocking the entrance. A delivery truck is unable to enter, and this is causing a traffic jam on the street outside the store.
Jack, could I ask you a favor? Could you give me a ride to the airport tomorrow morning?
Possibly. What time do you need to be there?
My flight is at 11, so I should probably leave around 8:30.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have an appointment with a client tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, so I'm afraid I won't be able to help you.
Here is your key. Your room is 320.
Thank you. By the way, do you know a good restaurant I could go to for lunch?
Yes, there's a great Mexican restaurant near here. I recommend taking a bus since it's a long walk. You'll get off at the post office.
Great. Do you have a bus schedule I could use?
Can I have your attention, please? Bus 234 from Salt Lake City, scheduled in 10 minutes, is stalled just outside the city limits. A new bus is en route to transport passengers and is expected to be here in about an hour. We apologize for the delay. Meanwhile, passengers waiting for bus 234 to Las Vegas and Los Angeles are invited to have a free meal in our lounge. Show your boarding pass at the dining counter to receive lunch and a beverage on us. If you are a 234 passenger planning to catch connecting buses in Las Vegas or Los Angeles, we are phoning those stations and trying to arrange for extra buses to meet you to avoid further delays. We apologize again for this inconvenience. Please note that our buses arrive and depart on schedule more than 90% of the time. If you would like a refund due to this postponement, please take your boarding pass to the customer service desk in the back of the station.
Jack, could I ask you a favor? Could you give me a ride to the airport tomorrow morning?
Possibly. What time do you need to be there?
My flight is at 11, so I should probably leave around 8:30.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have an appointment with a client tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, so I'm afraid I won't be able to help you.
Eric, are you driving down to the central office tomorrow?
Yes, I am. Why? Do you need a lift?
I do. My car is in the shop and I really don't want to take the bus. Would you mind?
Not at all. I'd appreciate the company.
My neighbourhood is quite clean, I suppose. I do get tired of looking at concrete buildings, though. It wouldn't be so bad if there were green spaces for kids to play in or to take a walk in. You've got to travel to find those, though, and I don't have a car. It would be lovely to live on a farm or maybe near a river, wouldn't it?
There are a few factories where I live, and they're really ugly. I think they make glass, and I know that some of the chemicals end up in the river. There are often reports about it in the local newspaper, but nobody seems to do anything. A lot of people are very angry about it because it's starting to affect things like fishing.
So, what has been your greatest achievement so far?
We have regular beach cleaning days, and I think we're beginning to make a difference. But I felt most proud when our local aquarium decided to display a sculpture I'd made from objects that I'd collected on the beach. Now, all the tourists that visit can see how we're polluting our planet.
Perhaps, but don't cyclists sometimes cause accidents themselves?
Of course, but not often. If there are no cycle lanes, cars might drive very close to the edge of the road. This will not give enough room for cyclists to get past, and means that the cyclist may need to move further into the road or to go around cars. This can cause problems for drivers who aren't expecting cyclists to swerve onto their part of the road. We have to educate cyclists, drivers and pedestrians about what cycle lanes are for and how to use them. Cycle lanes are definitely the best answer to the problem.
Good evening. My name's Tom King, and welcome to the show. Now, as we all know, the town centre is a busy place, and heavy traffic has been a problem for a long time. In addition, a recent report in the local newspaper revealed that asthma and other illnesses that affect breathing are on the rise. In the studio tonight, we have Sarah Toft from Bentham Cycling Club, who has some suggestions about how to solve this worrying situation. So, Sarah, what's the solution?
Cycle lanes, Tom. They can reduce the pollution we face every day. I cycle into work every day, and the exhaust fumes from traffic jams are terrible. Now, I know we can't ban lorries in the town centre. They have work to do there, or public transport. But we can encourage people to cycle into work instead of driving their cars. Bicycles are environmentally friendly, so they don't cause any pollution. And let's not forget that cycling is great exercise.
You will hear an interview with a boy called Luke who is going to spend time in the desert.
Good morning. Today we're going to talk to Luke Price, who has come to tell us about his plans for this summer. Luke, I've heard that you're going to the desert.
Yes, I'm going to spend 2 weeks in Morocco with my dad to help in a camp in the Sahara Desert. He's a nurse, and he's going to give classes to the nurses there about ways to keep things clean without using too much water. They're building a new medical centre and want to train doctors and nurses to work there.
And what's your job going to be?
Well, I'm the official photographer. My plan is to take photos and make a video about the building work and the classes. We want to show people back home what's happening there and try to raise money. I'll start from when we get off the plane, although the longest part of the journey will be overnight in a lorry, so I don't suppose I'll be able to do much then.
Right. So what are you particularly worried about?
The problem really starts right from the time we're babies. Throughout our lives, we miss lots of opportunities to make ourselves healthier. And then in old age, we suffer serious problems. By then, of course, it's too late to undo a lot of the damage. So really, it's people in their teens that many medical experts are seriously concerned about.
I need to get more exercise.
You should do more walking. Maybe you could walk to the subway every day instead of taking the bus.
Yeah, I think I will.
And why not take up jogging?
Let's not push it. I can't stand jogging.
I see. Did anything funny happen during your week?
Well, we always get strange people coming in. But one woman who came last week was rather silly. When she arrived, she was red and hot-looking. I really thought she needed pills for something, but she'd come to have an injection. She was going on a trip. But if you can believe it, she was scared, terrified of getting the injection. So every time the nurse got her to sit down and lifted the needle to inject her, she ran away. I had to come and help. I told the woman she could forget about the injection if she wanted, but she insisted she needed it. Anyway, in the end, I held the woman's hand and tried to take her attention away from what was happening by telling her a joke while the nurse quickly did the business. Aren't some people funny?
Yes, indeed. Right. When we come back from a short break, Dr.
Well, I have to say it was a very normal week, really. There was a bit of everything. Last Monday, I had special appointments for people over 65 to come in and have a checkup. I was pleased to see how well most of them were looking after themselves. You know, following a good diet, taking sensible exercise. You know, most people really do make the effort needed. Unfortunately, there was one old man who it seemed had never been to the doctor's before. I had to advise him to cut right down on fried food because after listening to his heart, I was afraid he could be in danger of a heart attack. I've sent him for more examinations and he'll be coming back next week. I'm sure if he starts taking our advice, he'll get much better.
You will hear a boy telling his friend about his bicycle.
I think I've just seen an ad on the notice board for your bike. Are you really selling it?
Yes, it's in great condition and I should get a good price for it. Then I can get a brand new phone.
I'm really surprised. I often see you riding it when I'm going to school, even on cold winter mornings.
Yes, I know I'll miss it, but I won't get enough money to replace it with another one and buy a new phone. The screen on the one I've got is just too small, and it's damaged too.
Well, I have to say it was a very normal week, really. There was a bit of everything. Last Monday, I had special appointments for people over 65 to come in and have a checkup. I was pleased to see how well most of them were looking after themselves. You know, following a good diet, taking sensible exercise. You know, most people really do make the effort needed. Unfortunately, there was one old man who it seemed had never been to the doctor's before. I had to advise him to cut right down on fried food because after listening to his heart, I was afraid he could be in danger of a heart attack. I've sent him for more examinations and he'll be coming back next week. I'm sure if he starts taking our advice, he'll get much better.
Inglewood Tech fixes all computers. We have over 20 technicians with years of experience. Our company has won several customer service awards. Also, beginning next month, we will offer a workshop on the most common problems customers face and how to solve them. Visit our website for a list of dates.
Hi, this is James Mahoney from Hawthorne Realtors. I purchased a fax machine from you last month, but it isn't working. Please send a technician as soon as possible to fix the machine. I need to use my fax machine.
Hello, it's Julie. I'm on my business trip in Madrid right now. I need to access my email, but my phone won't connect to the internet. Could you call me back and let me know how to fix this? Also, my flight has been delayed by 2 hours. Could you come pick me up by 7 p.m. on Wednesday? I'll make sure to bring you a souvenir from here.
Hello, this is Peter from Fast Computer Repairs. I wanted to let you know that we found the reason your laptop couldn't turn on, but it will be quite expensive to fix it. It would be cheaper to purchase a new laptop. Since it still has a warranty, you can get $400 toward a new computer. I can even offer the file transfer free of charge since you are a regular here. Please call me back to let me know what you'd like me to do. Thanks.
Rachel, I noticed you were having problems with the new accounting program.
Yes, I'm not used to this kind of software. I've never used it before.
There's going to be a workshop later today on how to use it. Why don't you go?
I want to, but I have to go to a meeting later today, and I heard it's only offered today.
Well, why don't I help you? Come in early tomorrow and I will show you how to use the program. Gail, I didn't hear from you about the sale this weekend. Did you get my email?
Did you send an email to us? I never got it.
I sent it right after the meeting on Tuesday.
I didn't get it either. I think the servers were down then.
Oh, I see. Then let me show you the signs I wanted you to work on.